Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we got a video by my guy, Sporting Logically, linked to his channel in the description below, titled Ranking the 5-Year Future of Every NBA Team, which is always such an interesting concept just because, like, there is, like, a good way to gauge the trajectory of a team, but also we know at the same time, so many little things can happen that can just change literally everything, man. Heck, like a total, like, butterfly effect and everything. But, yeah, definitely fun to look at, you know, like, based off right now, you know, assets and trade pieces and all that stuff, man. You know, young players, old players, where your team's at right now, where they're going to go. Like, really interesting, man. So, yeah, let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think about your team's future? As a Piston fan, you know, I feel like Cade and Sadiq is a good start. I feel like the rest of the guys on the team either have something to prove. A few of them good rotational pieces at least, but I think we have a good foundation to start, which is sad because we've been bad for 20 years. But yes, okay, let's get going on this.
Years in this league are going to be unbelievable. So let's rank the 5-year future of every NBA team. Thank you for clicking on the video, by the way. I really appreciate it. We begin with the worst 5-year future in the entire league, and I don't think it's that much of a debate. It's the LA Lakers. Everything about this team on the court right now revolves around LeBron James, who is 37 years old, who is eventually going to fall off. I don't know when that's going to be, but at some point in the next 5 years, LeBron is not going to be LeBron.
Yeah, they try to trade damn sixth graders.
The uncertainty around Russell Westbrook moving forward, the fact that they don't own like any of their future picks, and the fact that I don't know what Anthony Davis is going to look like in 5 years from an injury or an age standpoint gives them the worst future in the league, in my opinion. We move on to a team with a similar story, and that's the Brooklyn Nets. They have 3 aging, injury-riddled superstars, 2 of which are 2022 free agents, and they also do not have any of their future picks. Maybe in 5 years, Kyrie
and Celtics still have all their damn picks? Bro, how many did they give up for Kevin Garnett at the age of 40?
And KD will all still be together, and they'll be able to try and make it work.
I gotta get rid of all their picks.
The no picks trifecta is completed. It's the LA Clippers, who also do not have any picks moving forward. I don't feel confident at all in the health of Kawhi Leonard moving forward or the health of Paul George moving forward, and I just don't see any other real assets on this roster right now. They're going to be a huge help to them down the road.
Yeah, which, once again, it's such an interesting concept. Like, the teams he's listed so far have been like big market teams, and it's almost like unfair in a way that, you know, small market teams, they really have to embrace those draft picks and, you know, those good opportunities to get young players and stuff, because like a team like the Lakers or the Clippers or the Nets, like after they're done with like this, like their like duos or trios of stars, they're going to be able to just move on to the next greats. And that's just, yeah.
At 27, the Portland Trailblazers, I thought they would be higher, but the more that I went through the list, the more that I realized that if they're not going to move Dame or CJ, they're going to be where they are right now in a couple of years. And even if they do move those guys, they'll likely have waited too long and have limited their return in exchange for them. And even though Anthony Simons is a really exciting player right now, he's a restricted free agent this offseason, and I'm not really sure what else they have going there. Next up at 26 is the San Antonio Spurs. Really, for me, this is just about a lack of talent. DeJounte Murray is really good. I don't really like anybody else on the roster. I don't know what their upside, what their ceiling is moving forward.
I don't mind
with
Keldon,
DeJounte Murray as their best player, and I have doubts about the future of the head coach.
I like Keldon Johnson maybe as like a third option. Like, I feel like he could blossom into like maybe like a Tobias Harris type of player where you can just like maybe not ever like an all-star, but hey, like he puts up good scoring numbers.
Position for obvious reasons. I just don't see a lot happening here from a ceiling perspective. At 25 is the Indiana Pacers. It's a similar story to San Antonio. Yes, they have some trade assets. Miles Turner, Domantas Sabonis, these guys are 25, 26 years old. I just don't see the talent here. When you look at the other teams ahead of them when it comes to young talent, when it comes to potential all-stars moving forward in the future, Indiana is just not very high up on that list. 24, the Detroit Pistons. It's all just a Cade Cunningham ranking at this point. I'm very confident in his ability to be a worst case, a borderline all-star caliber player. If they can put some pieces around him, they've got the makings of something really promising.
Yeah, between him and I could also understand not mentioning Sadiq Bey in this case, because like Sadiq did have a very slow start to the season. He's also had some really great moments, you know, in the past few months or so, which makes me believe in him again. But I would say like, and we're gonna get a good draft pick again. It should be a top 5 pick, so that's something. But yeah, in the moment, I don't know. It's gonna be a few years away. It's gonna be a few years away, but I can kind of see Cade as like that primary piece. I can see it kind of come together around him.
in Detroit. At 23 is the Sacramento Kings, and they have the talent of a team that should be higher up on this list. I just don't trust the competence of their front office or their organization.
Ain't that the truth too?
They have shown time after time the ability to make all the incorrect moves at all of the worst times, despite an obvious amount of talent, especially in the backcourt. At 22 is the Orlando Magic. They really only have one guy that I really like moving forward in the future, and that's Franz Wagner. Jalen Suggs could be something. Cole Anthony could be something. Mo Bamba could be something. Jonathan Isaac and Markelle Fultz also could be something if they come back and are healthy. But that's a lot of ifs for me to rank ahead of any other team in front of them. At 21 is the Utah Jazz. This might seem like a very low ranking. Donovan Mitchell is awesome, and he's going to continue to be awesome for years and years and years. But this is a team that is built to win now between the age of Mike Conley and Bogdanovich. And I really think that future Gobert contract is going to limit some of the moves they're going to be able to make. And so I have them all the way down at 21. At 20 is the New York Knicks. There's just too many big contracts here. There's not enough top-end talent moving forward for me. I think RJ Barrett's going to be good. I don't think he's ever going to be an all-NBA caliber player. I don't think Julius Randle is necessarily someone you should be counting on to be your best player.
RJ Barrett, the way I measure him, he's maybe kind of like a Jaylen Brown on the Celtics. But yeah, I mean, maybe like an all-NBA third could happen like once or twice throughout his career, but he's definitely an all-star caliber player for sure.
You're really trying to be
he's
one of the
that
best
right
teams
now
in the Eastern Conference. I just don't see the ceiling. I don't see the upside. I think they've limited their flexibility. I have them at 20. At 19, I have the Phoenix Suns, which might feel a little bit low because even though Chris Paul is going to be moving on at some point here relatively soon, they still have Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, two young players. They still have Mikal Bridges. Here's my biggest issue, though. The ownership there has proven time and time again that they are willing to be cheap. They are willing to give up top-tier competitiveness in order to save some money. I just don't trust the ownership group to commit to winning in a real way. At 18, the Washington Wizards. This comes down.
And I think there's value to that, and there's also something against that too. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I realize like the value of DeAndre Ayton, but also I realize too that once Chris Paul retires and is back to Book and DeAndre, that's very similar to like Gobert and Mitchell, where it's going to allow you to be a good team, but is it going to allow you to win? Where maybe they can get away with like a Walmart center or something like that and use that DeAndre money towards something else, and I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Down to if Bradley Beal stays,
and how teams all kind of have different
out of him into the future. I like the flexibility they have. They have some relatively interesting young guys on this roster as well. Worst case, they have a handful of different trade assets here, and they can do something with this roster, even if it looks wildly different 5 years from now. At 17, the Boston Celtics, who have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and not much else. I can't put them lower than this because of the future and the upside.
A lot of cap space next season, I believe.
Their ability to play together, their willingness to play together, moving forward in the future is certainly a question mark. And if they're both on the team 5 years from now, frankly, I'd be shocked. 16, I have the Sixers, which is a really difficult team to rank because Embiid is awesome right now, but there's no guarantee that he's going to be healthy and or awesome 5 years from now. We have no idea what's going to happen with Simmons.
7-footers typically don't age well.
They have some interesting young guys on the roster right now, like Tyrese Maxey. They have some moves they can make into the future, and depending on what they get for Simmons, they could still be contenders 5 years from now. Number 15, the Miami Heat, one of the older, more veteran teams in the league between Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry. They have a ton of money committed to those
Fourth
two guys.
Oldest team? Who's oldest? Lakers, probably?
What really carries this ranking is Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero with some Duncan Robinson sprinkled in there as well. They have legitimate high-level NBA players that we know are going to be good for a long time, seem committed to being in Miami.
Robinson shooting better these days?
At 14, the Chicago Bulls, it's a similar story. They're built to win now with DeRozan, but if you think about the future and you think about what Patrick Williams could be 5 years from now, what Zach LaVine could be 5 years from now, having Lonzo Ball still on the roster, there's a lot of
between Lonzo, LaVine, and Patrick Williams, that's literally like almost like a new era of like Lob City, like on the Clippers, where it was CP3 as the guy making the passes to Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, but now you got like that younger athleticism with Zach LaVine and Patrick Williams. I love the idea of that.
Future and upside here moving forward for Chicago to kind of move the pieces around their young core here and continue to be a contending team even 5 years from now. At 13, the Mavericks. I can't believe they're ranked this low because Luka, they have an MVP candidate signed long term for at least the next 5 seasons. But I just don't know what else they're going to do with this roster. I still don't really like Jason Kidd as a coach. I don't know what the future of the Luka KP combo is, and I just don't see a lot of fantastic moves around Luka at the moment. But because he's there, they have to be worst case 13. At number 12, another team that
with the Mavericks, what I hope doesn't happen is I hope they don't fall into like the James Harden hero ball syndrome that the Rockets had for a long time, where it is simply like, Luka always puts up his stats and everything, but just never leads to like a championship. So that's what I really hope they avoid. I hope, if things, especially the next season or two, if things don't go the Mavericks' way, I just hope they focus on how to build around Luka, but in a way that doesn't require hero ball for them to move on, because that just doesn't work in basketball.
Cannot believe is ranked this low. The New Orleans Pelicans. They have Zion, for whatever that means at the moment. They have Brandon Ingram, who's going to be a good young player moving forward.
Zion's question marks is
young guys. They've got all these picks from the Lakers and from Milwaukee, but I just don't know how they're going to be able to put it all together. I don't have a lot of faith in the front office to do it correctly, and Zion is still a massive question mark, and so the highest I could put them was 12. And number 11 now is the Charlotte Hornets, and really the only reason for this is LaMelo. And it's not just who he is as a player, it's not just his abilities, it's not just the future and the ceiling and the upside, but it's his ability to be really fun to play with and what that can mean for them in terms of bringing players in terms of Charlotte becoming an exciting place for players to be. In addition to the fact that they do have younger players like Rozier, Bridges, Washington that can be interesting into the future. I really like the future of this Hornets team. At number 10, I have the Toronto Raptors. They've got some incredible high upside pieces, guys like Scotty Barnes, but they have an incredible coach and an incredible front office. They are going to do the absolute most that they can with whatever cards they are dealt. They're going to be in such a good position for years and years and years, mostly because of the infrastructure of the organization. At number 9, I have the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they don't have a ton of future picks. As long as you have Giannis, you're going to be a contender. That's the point of dominant that Giannis is at. He has reached the LeBron level of dominance, especially in the regular season, where if he's healthy and he's on your basketball team, top 14. You're winning 50 games, and that's the end of it. And 5 years from now, he's still going to be that guy. He might even be significantly better than he is right now. I can't put them lower than 9.
Might be more skill-based.
I'm surprised I had this team this high. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. They have a lot of really interesting young guys. Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards. I think they finally have the head coaching situation figured out. They feel like the Phoenix Suns before they got Chris Paul, where they're a move away from being a real legit.
That's a good point. And I do think that move is a man, I like D'Lo a lot with Ant-Man. I like that. I like Cat. Man, this team has to, I feel like this team has to find a way to get Ben Simmons. I feel like Ben Simmons just works.
A big-time team, and that's why I have them at number 8. In number 7, I have the Golden State Warriors for a variety of different reasons. I think their stars, apart from Draymond Green, are going to age relatively well, assuming that...
They got a low-key good little rebuild going, too. I'm sure he's probably going to mention it with, like, Wiseman and Kuminga and stuff.
Play is going to be healthy moving forward, and then they have all the options
of like rebuilding behind the scenes.
And Wiseman, and the ability that gives them to play those guys and develop them, or move them somewhere else for a star that potentially bridges the gap. This feels like a very long-term situation here. There's no real threat of any of these guys leaving. I think they're in a fantastic spot. Number 6, the Houston Rockets. I really didn't know what to do with them. It kind of depends on what you think of their young players. I just went with the odds here because they have so many rookies. They have so many young guys. They have so many picks. The odds are, if they don't screw it up, they're going to be a really good team in the West 5 years from now.
See, I ain't trying to sound like biased here or nothing like that, but just from like a personnel standpoint, I mean, I guess like the Rockets have more of that like depth potential, but I don't really see a big difference between like them and like the Detroit Pistons, where like, you know, you got like the Caden Jalen thing going on. You know, Sadiq Bey is a nice young piece. Kevin Porter's a nice young piece. Christian Wood, Jeremy Grant, kind of some similarities there as far as like the not really old veteran, but the guy that, you know, could be part of the team, maybe not, could be a trade piece. But I also do like guys like Sengun, but I also like guys like Isaiah Stewart at times too. So that's just I feel like those teams are pretty close. I'm not saying the Rockets don't have great potential, but I just feel like that's quite the gap right there in my opinion.
They have given themselves such a large margin for error that I really can't bet against them having one of the brighter futures in the league. At number 5, the Denver Nuggets. This comes down to Jokic is still going to be there 5 years from now. Jamal Murray should be as well. I don't know what the future of Michael Porter Jr.
Hopefully
is there
he gets
in Denver.
healthy.
That certainly holds them back a bit, the uncertainty around
he needs to get healthy,
and the contract
definitely.
that he's owed. But I can't bet against Jokic. I can't bet against Jamal Murray once he comes back and is healthy. And this is another organization, similar to Toronto, that has proven an ability for years and years to do the correct things. At number 4, I have Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. It just comes down to, again, just the young guys that they have. I'm just down to see what they do moving forward. It all centers around Trae, and whenever you have Trae there and all these pieces, it can't be discounted. Number 3 is the Memphis Grizzlies. It's Ja, it's Desmond Bane, it's Jaren Jackson, it's Dylan
they could be
Brooks.
number 1 on my
It's a front
list.
office that has proven an ability to just always level up a little bit. They're the franchise that trades like the sewing needle for the pack of gum, for this, for that, and all of a sudden you look up and they have a Lamborghini. Like, that's their front office, and I believe in their ability to continue to do that.
Yo, by the way, if you guys didn't know, maybe it's still not the case, but I'm pretty sure my guy Tayshaun Prince is an assistant GM, so you guys can thank Detroit for your success. I'm just joking, man. But you can take maybe Tayshaun Prince to an extent.
With Ja at the center of it, they have certainly one of the brightest futures in the league. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Darius Garland, Evan Mobley,
Them
Jared
or
Allen. So
Memphis.
many possibilities moving forward. The only thing that limits them, they don't have a ton of cap space for agency stuff moving forward because a lot of their guys are already signed or will be signed soon, like Garland and Mobley, and they don't have this crazy number of future draft picks and things like that. It's the only reason they're not number 1. But the team that is number 1, you might have been able to guess it, is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's not just about future draft picks anymore. Like, it's nice that they have all these picks, but I really like at least 3 of their players. I really like Giddey. I love Shea. I really like Lou Dort. You can start to see them assembling a real basketball team here. I think their coach is pretty good. They are going to have every option in the book for them moving forward.
If this team goes off and gets Chet or Banchero in the draft, it's going to be a GG because they're going to have a great young core and have all these draft picks. So I agree with that 100%. I was not thinking about OKC for whatever reason, but yeah, a great video, by Sporting Logically. I think he did a good job with it. Obviously, everybody's list can be a little bit different and kind of how you view, the definition of future and everything. But I thought it was a good list. So that's all we have, man. Thank you all so much for watching. Link to his channel in the description below. Peace out, my friends.